good. Whenever I just get like a hint of indigestion, I'm like, ooh. You know what time it is? A little nip of Pepto-Bismol. I'll just go in there without the little cup even, just take a little drag off it. Oh man, it's so good. Look at this.
What are we looking at?
Him back, dude.
Look at he is him and him is back.
Him back. He's here. Welcome back to the podcast, David.
Thank you.
How was your week off?
It was great. It was great. I was in NOLA, New Orleans. I ate a lot. I drank maybe even more.
Sure.
It was a good time. Fun was had by one and all. I saw some gators. I was in the swamp. I was swamping and stomping, living my best life.
I was very convinced you were about to say I saw some gamers, which really would have tickled me.
I did see some gamers, though. I did see some gamers. On Frenchman Street, there were a lot of artists who were selling video game and anime themed art.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you came home with some sick prints, of course.
I did not, unfortunately.
You didn't get the, like, every Super Saiyan form on a single poster or anything?
I didn't. That lives in my mind, my soul. But also, I did see a vape shop in the French Quarter that had a giant mural of a bunch of different anime characters vaping.
Oh, man.
It was
so cool.
Funniest shit. It was the funniest shit. Every time I walked by it, I just had to laugh. I'm like, this is absurd.
That's really good. And weirdly, I feel like anime really cuts across like class and culture.
It does now. Did not used to, but now it does. It's kind of an equalizer at this point. Like, who would have thunk that anime and vaping go together? Apparently, whoever owns this business.
Who wants to see Goku vaping? I mean, this guy.
There was one corner that was like Goku, Vegeta, and Master Roshi.
Okay.
And then there was another side of it that was more new school anime. Like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen. It was weird.
And they're all vaping.
They're all vaping. All of them are in different aspects of vaping at the moment.
That's impressive. Hey, welcome to Video Game Podtimism. It's the Optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
And my name is David.
Welcome to this show. We're hanging out and we're talking about games.
That's what the show is.
That's what the thing is that we're doing here. Have you played games, David?
I have played games. It's true.
I would love to hear about where you're at. How you doing?
Where you at? How you doing, baby? I've been playing some Metroid Dread.
Okay, wow. You hadn't beat this one, right?
No.
But you had started playing it?
I had started playing it. I was about like 7 hours in.
Okay.
This is a very hard game to get back into after not having played it for several months. Mm-hmm. But thankfully I was at a point, because I remember the last time I played it, I was on a plane as well. So I was able to search my memory and find out where I was supposed to go, thankfully. Yeah. Because also the game does not give you a lot of information as to what or where what you're supposed to be doing or where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
So that was a fun like 10 or 15 minutes just trying to figure it out.
Just orienting yourself.
And then figuring out what all the buttons do. Because there's like, you can do a lot of stuff with Samus in this game. You can do a lot. Like this is one fully loaded Samus right here. But once I got back in the swing of things, this is a great game. A lot of fun. I haven't played it since I've had glasses.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I feel like I'm seeing more of the fine details in the game that they have put in there. And it's very impressive, just the level of intricacy they've put into this world. Just it feels very alive and in a very fun sci-fi way.
Yeah.
The animation of Samus and the creatures is superb.
It's so buttery smooth.
It's so buttery smooth, especially just in comparison to when I didn't have glasses. I just couldn't appreciate it as much, I guess. But now it's in HD high definition right now.
Sure.
And I'm really appreciating what they've done. And I think I am kind of a sucker for that in a game, because like when I started really vibing with The Witcher 3 was when I got my new TV and it was actually like understandable what was going on. And I feel like this is a similar experience. So I'm pretty into Metroid Dread right now.
That's amazing.
Been playing it a lot.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Huge world. So easy to get lost in.
Quite large, yeah.
Yeah, I usually kind of pride myself in these Metroidvanias of being able to kind of create a rough mental map of the whole entire world that you're in. I have no clue where I am in Metroid at any time, which kind of adds to the terror of it all.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Especially with the Emmys. But I feel like I might be getting close to the end. I only have 2 more Emmys to fight.
I was about to say, I feel like given the amount of time that you had already put in and how much you're talking about, like you're playing it, I feel like you're not that far from beating the game.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah,
fun game.
It's a great Metroid game.
Also, in the vein of Metroidvanias, I've been playing Blasphemous, the original, as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, welcome back.
Once again, a game that is hard to jump back into.
Yes, for sure.
I had not gotten far, so I just started over again.
That's probably wise.
I just created a new save file, and I feel like I'm going in a very different direction than the first time I played. I think I might have been going into a spot that was maybe a little bit too strong for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm going the right direction because I had not remembered seeing snow before in this game, and now I'm in a snowy level.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll see how that goes. Also fun, sometimes a little rage-inducing, but I think that is somewhat by design, or at least difficult is by design.
Yeah. I had talked about this a little bit with Blasphemous too, but yeah, I think having played the other one, the newest Blasphemous, the parts of the first one where I got frustrated, they feel a little bit more onerous now. Because like I can see that they can do it without being that frustrating. Like I feel like most of the time the combat feels pretty good, and like the bosses are challenging in a way that feels really good. But I think what I'm specifically thinking of is whenever I fall and die, or like fall into like spike pits or something, like it just feels so brutal in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it doesn't feel great because the platforming is difficult.
Yes, it's not easy.
You can't see a lot of what is you're supposed to be jumping into, whether or not there is a short ledge or an enemy on the other side or what have you. And you have to be very precise with the platforming as well. It doesn't always quite work out with the Joy-Cons and Joy-Con drift being a thing. But besides that, I still do like the combat, and I like the sliding. The sliding is fun.
It does feel really good. It feels good in the other one too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you spoke of last time, just the aesthetic of the game, the Inquisition type aesthetic is so fun, which is a strange way to describe the Inquisition, but it's just a very specific type of art and imagery that you don't get seen explored a lot in games. So it's quite enjoyable to be in. I have also played a little bit of Hades. Have to mention, played some Hades
of course.
On the trip.
Yeah, sure.
It's Hades. It's great. Loved it.
Yeah.
And of course, Chase.
It's here. It's time.
I've punched my ticket. I'm in through the front door.
All aboard.
I have my badge. I have my neon lights, my skimpy outfit, and I'm in Gatefest 2023, baby.
It's here. Gatefest. It's the beginning for people with a PlayStation 5. Some of the people may be a lot farther in this game.
It's pretty much, I didn't pay for the advanced pre-sale tickets, and the PC gamers have been there for a full month and have just trashed the place. Now they've kept the place very nice, and it's time for me to explore Gatefest. I have not gotten too far yet.
You're playing Baldur's Gate 3, just to be clear.
Sorry, I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't think we said the name of the video game. We just said Gatefest and then started talking about the video games.
This is a game that I have been talking about on this podcast close to the inception of the pod.
Almost the whole time, yeah.
Because I am a huge fan of the Divinity Original Sin franchises. My girlfriend and I have played both of those games through to completion, probably put a good 80 to 100 hours into each of those games.
That was like your pandemic game.
That was our pandemic game.
So much into it.
Yeah, that was our game where we said, let's not think about the real world. Let's get engrossed in a very dense, crunchy CRPG. And it's been great.
You're also a swords and sorcery kind of guy. I feel
Absolutely.
Like.
Love Lord of the Rings. I love The Witcher. I love
Divinity is a good example.
That's just my jam. As Chase is with sci-fi, I am with swords and sorcery. This is 100% my jam, this game. Like I said, haven't gone too far. Spent probably a good hour or so in the character creation area. Had to get the deets on all of the different characters. Had to get frustrated and accidentally hit the wrong button to see something 1,000 different times before I could actually understand what was going on with the menus, which I think is also just something that's part of these sorts of games. It's kind of part of the experience for me, is a a large, confusing menu, but with just a lot of information in it, which I enjoy. Created our Guardians. I have no idea what they're going to be used for quite yet.
Sure. Yeah, what are those?
But I just made a big old human himbo.
Oh, love that. Yeah, give me the deets. Who's the guy you're playing as right now?
As like my main character?
Yeah.
I am playing as not Calanthe, the space orc lady, Lizale.
The Githyankiss?
Yeah, the Githyankiss.
Oh, so you're playing as her.
She's my main character.
You said you made a character.
I made my guardian, or whatever they are.
Oh, okay. You made your guardian a big himbo.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. You're playing as Lizale. That's pretty wild. I never recruited her. I never found her.
You never found her? Interesting, because she's like in the very beginning opening cinematic, even before you.
I saw her there. we ran into each other on that the like introduction, and then
you're just like, not interested. Not interested, lady.
I just expected that I would see her again, and then never saw her again.
That's funny.
I'm like 50 hours into playing this game. Just no.
I am she though. So now you are her companion by association.
Yeah. Wow. I found her. It's you.
I found her. It's my friend David. So I'm playing as her, and then Mallory is Karlach.
Yes, she is, David.
Do you like Karlach?
I'm fully in love with Karlach, for better or worse.
Whoa. Okay. First of all, back off. Second of all, you have impeccable taste.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, she's Karlach. I am Lizale.
I honestly, I did not expect you guys to both play as like the pre-rolled characters. I'm interested to see how this plays out for you.
We decided to do both the pre-roll characters because of our experience with Divinity.
Yeah, sure.
Because it seems like you get a lot more story beats and like special unique quests and options if you are the pre-rolled characters. So that's why we decided to go with them, at least for this first playthrough. I'm sure this will be a multiple playthrough game. I can already feel it.
Yeah. From people who I know who have beat it and then tried to play it again, like there is a lot of value in returning to it, because like there's just so much in there. It seems impossible to hit it all in one go through.
Yeah, because I also had a very strong desire to make a gnome bard with a subclass barbarian.
Great. Amazing.
Which I was into. But we'll see. That'll be the second playthrough probably.
Yeah.
But so far we have gotten through the beginning tutorial level. Could not get the brain out of the head at all.
In the very beginning.
Yes.
There. Just couldn't roll.
Couldn't roll it. I used my strength +3 strength roll. I rolled like a 5. And then I tried to like smack his skull to break it, and I just smacked the side of his head, and there was blood, and then just nothing happened. And I was like, oh, I guess that's it. We tried.
Welcome to D&D, mama. Here we are.
And then Mallory failed her roll as well. So got through that, crash landed, and now we are exploring the Grove.
Yes, you are.
It's all very confusing so far. I don't have as much knowledge about Dungeons and Dragons as I think you. And I think with Divinity, they spent a little bit more time explaining the world because it was like a totally new thing that they have made for the game. This, I feel a little bit more confused because I just don't know the backstory and just what is like the lore of the general lore of the world with this one. But enjoying going through and finding out things and discovering things.
So what have you done in the Grove so far?
We are there collecting side quests currently.
Great.
Mallory tried to recruit Will because she's like, that guy's cool. And he's like, fuck this demon. I'm going to murder you if I see you again. I was like, whoa, this guy's mean. So right now her companion is Shadowheart because we found her in the Nautiloid or whatever it's called, and has been traveling with her. My first companion died, Loris. He was another Githyankiss like me, and then you just see his like splatted body outside. Is he someone who like lives sometimes?
I have never even heard of this character.
I think he might have just been for the tutorial, unless I did something wrong. But you see his splatted body when you get out of the Nautiloid. I was like, that's my guy. He's dead.
I never ran into him.
Gotcha. Well, I ran into him, and then he ran into the ground. So not much of a change there. But right now, my companion is Asterion, the vampire man.
Yes.
Vampire rogue.
Love Asterion.
You
Very
love
fun.
Asterion.
Oh, he's so much fun.
I don't know. He seems kind of like a D-bag to me, but we'll see.
Yes. That is part of it.
That's what's fun about him, huh?
He's very lovable despite being kind of a shithead.
We'll see.
He's so dramatic.
He is very dramatic.
Whenever you tell him to go back to camp, and then if you put him in your party again, he always says, "Oh, darling, I thought you'd never ask." Like, Come on. What am I supposed to, what am I going to do?
I mean, that is a pretty good line.
It's really good. When he's like skulking around in combat, if you click on him, sometimes he'll just say, "Careful, I bite." Very good. Very good.
So he's like a vampire from True Blood.
I don't know. I'm going to have to find out. See what's going on in that backstory.
Can't be vampire.
He's a little goofy. Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm interested to see what happens with Will. My story with Will played out exceptionally different than that.
Well, I think it's because Mallory talked to him.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to try to talk to him. That's one of my next things.
I would try.
Yeah, because he seems cool, and I like the whole entire conceit of the warlock who has a what do they have? They have like a patron. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
love it.
And the patron plays a big role in the game.
Oh, good to know. All right.
Yes.
I'm going to try to recruit Will. I'll be maybe I'll be Astarian and try to, oh no, but I'm a vampire. I should be the Githyankiss. He'll hopefully be the least offended by her.
Maybe you can recruit Gale. He might be less weird.
I called him Dandelion Yaskir. That's kind of the character he feels like to me, like from The Witcher. He's a mage, but he's like the sexy sex man.
Kim compared him to Caden Alenko. Or I think maybe I compared him to Caden Alenko, but Kim really likes Gale.
Kim really likes Gale. Was Caden like a big, like, sexy flirt? That's what this guy feels like to me.
I think Caden just overestimated how intimate the relationship with Shepard is almost immediately.
Okay.
You like bumped into him in a coffee shop and he's like, marriage or no? Or like, what are we doing?
You can't just bump into someone and not propose. Come on.
Nice guys always finish last.
Nice guys always finish last.
How about that intro though, man? It was like so bombastic, that whole like first hour and a half or so.
Very different than Divinity.
Divinity, yeah.
Very different than how Divinity played out, but
I loved it personally. I was like, I think it may just be because I played through Fort Joy so many times.
I was about to say, Divinity's a slow burn. It takes a while. When I was through the tutorial in like 20 minutes, I was like, huh? Excuse, this is supposed to be like a couple hours.
Just out here?
Yeah. I ain't ready to start. I barely got my groove on, baby.
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't clock a lot of knowledge from Dungeons and Dragons in this game. Like there are very few things that I ran into that I was like, I know what that is, or I know where this place is. Mm-hmm. So I think more than likely you will discover most of the information that you need just, by kind of wandering around talking to people. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think you'll be all right.
We'll see. I already accidentally discouraged people from fighting for something, so we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah. Let's see.
This is just my story. I chose the Githyankiss reaction, and it was not a nice thing to say.
My understanding is that is very typical for Lazelle's character. That is very, very infrequently is it the nice thing to say.
Yeah, that seems to be about right for her. Oh, Chase, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, hold on. While you were gone, I wanted to propose Dazel.
Ooh, I am Dazel.
Dazel. Could we figure something out with Githyankiss?
Ben Yankee?
The Ben Yankee.
Dazel Ben Yankee.
It's a little tough, but I was just trying it on, seeing how the edges felt on that one.
Dazel Benyankiss.
Benyankiss, I like. It's definitely not the race from D&D, but I do like Benyankiss.
Dazel Benyankiss. First of his name.
Warrior Ghoul.
Warrior Ghoul. Yes. Yes. Class Warrior Job Ghoul.
Job Ghoul. What have I been playing? A couple of video games. I'm also playing Baldur's Gate. Mm-hmm. I'm also trying it on PlayStation 5, just seeing how it goes.
Oh, nice.
Because I just can't stand being at my fucking desk all day. I really like playing this game, and I just do not want to be in front of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell for me yet if that is working for me yet, because I've played so much of this game with a mouse and keyboard that it is kind of challenging to suddenly go to a controller. I'd say for most of it, it's really, they've got a good solution for a lot of stuff. I think that like the radial menu that they have for like spells and actions works, and it's pretty responsive. It's really easy to like set different actions, like essentially I've just added like a couple of menus where I just put all the shit that I normally use in them. So like I don't really have to like sort through those radial menus, because later in the game, I've got like 40 spells that I know. I've got 100 potions and like 30 scrolls that also do potions. So there's menu after menu for a lot of the characters. But I will say it performs really well on PlayStation, which I was kind of having trouble with on my computer in Baldur's Gate. So like it's kind of nice to just be have a reliable frame cap and like all that sort of stuff. So
Totally.
That's been pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing that I really want to like go too deep into because you're playing it now, and I don't want to blow any of the story.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Gate Fest has just opened the gates, baby.
This is day one of Gate Fest.
Day one of many.
Let's see. I also have been playing Starfield. I talked about this a little bit with Kim and AJ. Well, a little bit. It was almost an hour's worth with Kim and AJ last week.
And it's the worst game you've ever played, right? That's what I've heard from the internet. It's the worst game ever.
It's such a bizarre game. I think that we talked about this a little bit, but the more that I play this game, the more I don't agree with that. I think it is quite good, but B, this game is going to hit so many people really differently. I think it is not the smash hit as like Skyrim was for like everybody. I feel like everybody loved that fucking video game. It offered so many things to so many different people. And I think Starfield offers some of the same stuff. It offers different stuff. And then there's also something like some things from Skyrim and Oblivion and even Fallout that isn't present here. And so I think because people will always come to a game and enjoy different things, there are going to be some people who show up to this game expecting stuff from Fallout or the Elder Scrolls and be disappointed, right? We touched on it a little bit last week, but the experience of exploration is so different in this game than it is in Skyrim or Oblivion or Fallout, because it is not the case that you show up to a planet and similar to Skyrim, you can just choose a direction and there is stuff out there. That is really not how this game works. Like it is much more, you will get some quest hooks from somebody that will point you over to a planet and, there's a spot that you should go to, or that there will already be something scanned on that planet that's like, here's an abandoned mine or something. And so like, I think for folks who enjoy the Bethesda experience of just wandering out into the wild and discovering things, this game isn't really that. And so I understand why someone would be disappointed in that. But like I mentioned last week, I am able to feel that sense of discovery and exploration just via the quest hooks, right? If you jump into a new star system, you'll show up outside of a planet and sometimes there will be somebody there who's like, hey, don't go over this direction, or hey, I heard there was this weird thing going on this planet nearby. And that's kind of your hook to go find out whatever that is. And so I do feel like there is excitement around a lot of corners in this game, but not in the sense that is physical like the other Bethesda games. And like excitement is literally around the corner. You go wander down into a cave and it's right there.
Yeah.
Versus like you kind of have to let the game give you the quests before you can go find it.
Sure.
And so I again, similar thing I was mentioning last week, that's an expectation adjustment where the first thing I did in this game was try and pretend it's a space simulator game where I show up in my ship and I boost towards a planet and I'm expecting to get to the planet. That is just not how this game works.
Yeah, you have to like fast travel to different planets, right?
Yes, you fast travel. There's no moment like there is in No Man's Sky or Elite Dangerous where you fly towards a planet and you physically land. It's you just choose a spot on the map and the game does it for you.
Gotcha.
And so it is a little bit different in that way. So I understand why people are frustrated about it. Like all things or every conversation on the internet, it's not as bad as people are frustrated by.
Yeah.
I think like this game demands nuance in the way that you talk about it. And the internet is so bad at that. It's so bad at having a nuanced opinion about something. In a lot of ways, I feel like this game is going to mirror whatever expectations you are bringing to it and mirror sort of what your hopes are for it or your desires are for the game.
So what? It's like the Mirror of Erised from Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's going to show you whatever you want. I want a new Xbox, and then it's going to have that in Starfield. No, like I just mean that there are so many different experiences here. And if you are the kind of person who is hoping to go look for the edges and the seams of this game, it's not going to be great, right? Like I'm sure you saw that video of somebody like dropping on a planet and then just walking for 40 minutes and being like, this game fucking sucks, dude. Yeah, like if you play it like that, it's going to suck. That's not a very fun way to play this game.
Yeah.
But I think...
Or like the guy who got mad because of the pronouns.
Oh my God. This is the funniest fucking... It is such a tangential part of the character creator, not only that, like, it's not even that progressive. They just assume whatever you're kind of like mask or femme presenting, they just assume pronouns at that point. So like, it's not like it's really all that divergent at all.
No.
It's internet chuddery, man. It's nonsense.
Internet chuddery. Man.
So anyway, since talking about it last week, like I said, I'm much, I think, hotter on it than I was then. If you were listening to any of the other worst garbage online takes, I think a common theme is that this game gets better the farther that you go in. And I really agree with that. I think specifically the main quest is just like so good and so much fun. One of the better main quests in a Bethesda game. And like that's partially a testament to how good this one is, but it's also a testament to like the other ones are like fine. Like they're usually not that out of this world, but I think this one does manage to tell like a really compelling science fiction story that is good and meaningful and has, you know, commentary and thematic stuff going on, which is just like not present in a lot of other Bethesda games. More than just like the good guys won, yay, or whatever. Like, some dragons aren't that bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on in there. And so I really, really appreciate the stuff that's happening there. I'm not the first, I feel like 5 hours of this game are like pretty good. And that's what I was mostly playing with last week. But I think like after that point, the game opens up and sort of shows its hand for what it's doing a little bit more. I really, really, really like it. So yeah, it's mixed, right? Like there are parts of it that are good. There are parts of it that are like, for me, okay. And I think the game allows you to kind of play it how you want to. There are base building things, and like I haven't really engaged with that very much. You can just explore whatever star system you want to. Don't really do that. I just kind of do the big quests because those are really fun right now. But yeah, I think it's really good. It's hard to talk about the ending because like I really don't want to spoil anything. It's very fun to experience that on yourself. I think Brendan Bigley at Into the Aether had said that like he had recommended playing through to get through the main quest, because it feeds very nicely into New Game Plus, like narratively, which is really cool. And I did that, and I think I mostly agree with that. Like I had a bigger story experience doing that intentionally than I thought I would. Like me myself making that decision of like, I want to rush through and play through the game. I think the story kind of has an answer for that in a way. Like there's a little bit of an interpretation that I had to make with like why that would happen or like how my character would feel about that. But I did find a lot of meaning in that. And you know, once more people have played this, maybe we could talk about it. But like, I just found that they are accounting for this kind of emergent storytelling in a way that is really cool and really fun. I was talking to AJ about this a little bit, and what they had said was that like AJ's a little colder on it on this game, and they were trying to figure out like why does this one land or doesn't land where Mass Effect does, right?
Sure.
We'd kind of kicked it around, and I think a lot of it comes down to this idea of a story being authored or emergent, where Mass Effect is like very much an authored story.
Yes.
You know, like
to gamers' chagrin.
Kind of, yeah, right? Like I think that it's marketed as being this game where you can do anything and like your choices all matter and stuff. But like at the end of the day, like there's usually only like 3 dialogue options.
Yeah.
Who your shepherd is really driven by those dialogue options, and there are some things that just kind of come assumed about who Shepard is and like what their options even are in a situation, you know? And the same goes for like the world, the state of the world, the characters in it, their relationship to Shepard. You know, a lot of that is pre-written in a lot of ways. And I think Mass Effect does a really good job of writing the line between offering choice versus just railroading someone. They make a lot of those things really meaningful. But I would be hard pressed to call like an emergent game, and we had talked about this, and like I feel like the example is like EVE Online, where so little of how that game plays out is written, you know, like so much of it is these stories of like real life people kind of layering on this meta situation that they've built over it of like, okay, we're going to make factions, and those factions are going to team up, and that these factions believe in this thing, and we're going to wage like real in-game wars with each other that will then kind of determine the lore of the world going forward. Like who loses that will have an effect, but none of that was written into the game. It just sort of provided the options for you to be able to write that story.
Yeah. It's always felt like people playing a game who really just like want to write a history of a world.
Yeah.
They're writing space history.
Correct. I think it's a good observation because I think emergent stuff has a lot to do with like how you yourself are interpreting the story that's happening, or like how somebody wants to write down what is going on at any given moment. Because you could just ignore all the shit that's going on in EVE Online and like wouldn't really occur to you that any of this lore is happening. It's much more about like people witnessing it to see what does this actually mean here.
I just love that like every 5 years there's some story about EVE Online, like the crazy battle's about to happen. Like, oh man, this is great.
Big war going on with like real dollars involved.
Yeah, like millions of dollars. It's crazy.
It's so nuts. And so I think Bethesda games, it sits a little bit towards the middle, but I would say it definitely is more on the side of emergent storytelling. And like most of the best experiences I've had with Bethesda games are emergent like that, where something happened that the game did not write, right? Like either I created a really specific kind of character, somebody who I'm like, okay, none of this is written down. None of this is going to like play out in the game, but I'm this kind of elf and here are my skills and here's how I'm going to play the game, you know? And sometimes the game doesn't offer you like narrative choices for how to reflect that. It's much more about how you are going about choosing what to do, I feel like. Or like in the case with the end of this game, I think is a perfect example where a lot of the personal meaning I got out of it was my interpretation of what happened rather than literally the dialogue choices that happened.
Huh. Interesting.
And so that gives me satisfaction out of that without it really being like a big deal in the game. But I think that you have to be okay with that kind of storytelling because like sometimes the dialogue is weird. Sometimes characters talk over each other in this game, like pretty frequently. It's still very much a Bethesda game, which I really like because it's always so fucking funny when that stuff happens.
It's a little magical.
It's so amazing and kind of emergent, right? Like my companion Barrett so frequently will be like, hey, I have something for you. And he just walks up to me and gives me a little rock of uranium.
That's amazing.
What the fuck, dude?
You're just trying to irradiate me, man?
Yeah, so silly. But like, that's not a story beat. That's just a couple of details that are written on a page. And it's up to me to be like, that's funny. I like that. Or you know, anything else about this game. There's a lot of stuff like that. So I think your mileage is going to vary based around a lot of how you enjoy games. And I wouldn't say that either of those are like better or worse. It's just kind of taste, you know?
Yeah.
But if you were into that kind of thing, if you played, I guess, EVE Online, but I'm thinking of like Far Cry 2 specifically has a lot of emergent stuff going on in it. Even like Dishonored in a way. Dishonored is much more authored in the story that's telling, but like situations like that will play out where some weird mechanic will interact with another one in a way that you aren't expecting, you know? So if you like those, I think you might enjoy this game, but I would be hard pressed to say that like, other than the main quest and like some of the bigger stuff, the rest of it's, you know, it's good. I would say like the writing is definitely better than a lot of other Bethesda games, but not something where I'm like, you know, it's not Baldur's Gate by any stretch of the imagination. And like whenever I compare the two, I feel bad about it because it's like there's such different experiences, and I think trying to force one of them onto another trying to force the comparison it doesn't make sense, because Baldur's Gate is, for better or worse, like it is an authored story, but they have managed to make it feel emergent because they have covered so many bases. With like what you can and can't do. You can do almost fucking anything.
It's
and
great.
The game is like, it's going to make you feel like, haha, I tricked you. I got it. But the game is like, yeah, no, we know you could do that. we figured that out. And so it's got an answer for all of those things, but it makes it feel like you are, you know, flying by the seat of your pants and like figuring things out. And each choice that you make is specific to you. They just happen to have an answer for it all. Whereas Starfield doesn't a lot of the time. And that goes both ways, right? Like there are some things where I'm like, wait, why isn't anybody reacting to this in the way that they probably would here? Like I got my hands on a piece of tech that they think doesn't exist, or like a character would be very different than I think they would. But in Baldur's Gate, that's handled. They understand that, but you know, not in this one. So it can go both ways there. So yeah, I like your mileage may vary. I think this is a really good game though. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. Starfield.
Hell
it's
yeah.
a video game. It's worth playing, especially if you have Game Pass.
Sounds like it. I will definitely touch this game at some point, but
I would be interested to see how this lands for you, because like you enjoyed Skyrim, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed Skyrim. I did not enjoy Fallout 4 that much. Was not for me. I dipped my toes in for a hot second, and it just seemed like, to me, the same old kind of Bethesda stuff. So
Yeah.
I jumped out pretty fast. So, but this sounds like it's different. So that actually might be nice for me personally.
Yeah, for sure. I will also say, just like mechanically, the shooting feels much better in this one than it does in Fallout. I feel like Fallout is like kind of, it's fine.
The VAT system.
Yeah. I enjoyed like actually playing the video game part of this too.
That's good to know.
That's cool. Anyway, the only other thing that I've been playing this week, I'm striking while the iron's hot, David.
All
It's a
right.
hot, fresh new game.
Oh my gosh. You got all the fresh hot ones right now.
Is Kirby and the Crystal Shards, David?
Excuse me? on the Nintendo Switch expansion pack?
Yeah, it dropped on the Switch a little while ago, and I also remembered that one Garen of Legend had suggested that we play I texted him today, hey, did you suggest we play Kirby and the Crystal Shards? He said,
No.
and I said, okay, fine. Did you suggest we play Kirby and the Crystal Shards? And he said,
Yes, I did.
so,
Got him.
Got him. By the way, I'm going to do this as a mini good games,
Okay.
like I did with Subnautica, where it's like, it's just me talking about it, but like,
I
there's some
love this
stuff in
game.
here.
I can talk about Kirby.
That's the thing, is usually when we do a good games, I kind of want it to be either one that we have less experience with or don't have strong feelings about. Whereas like both of us really like Subnautica and both of us really like Kirby and the Crystal Shards. So it's like, it almost goes against the idea of good games.
Just get in there.
So like, I feel like we need like maybe a quick stinger for like a tiny good games.
Oh, just pitch up the the stingers.
the hot
All the
stats.
hot stat stingers.
Let me hit you with quick stats. What do you feel about quick stats? Does that do anything for you?
It makes me feel like I need to hurry.
Piping hot stats?
How about simmering stats?
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
It's not hot, but it's like it's bubbling. It's bubbling.
Yeah, sure, it's bubbling. Instead of good games, what do we think about GG?
GG.
Just like shortened.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
We got a little GG for you.
I'm into it. GG.
And I'm going to hit you with some simmering stats. Let's get a clean one. You ready for this?
A clean what? Take?
Us saying simmering stats.
Okay.
Simmering stats.
Kirby and the Crystal Shards came out June 27th of 2000 in North America. It was made by HAL Labs. We talked about them with the Kirby episode. You know them, you love them. I, of course, have a review from Joe Video, the people that we usually do in the main segment. I will say, if this is anybody's first episode, this segment will make a lot more sense in about 15 minutes. So just bear with us. But I do have a review of Joe Video, which I ran through a bunch of Google Translates to spit this out. This is a review of Kirby and the Crystal Shards. Muta Mita. An N64 release is always nice, especially when it comes with the return of one of the manufacturer's favorite characters. Kirby is a pleasant but unsurprising game. Only recommended for young people. I think that they gave that one an 8 out of 10.
That was it?
That was it. Yeah, it was a little short and sweet.
Mota Mita. Is that a robot trying to do Mario?
I have no idea. Because it was Mota Mita immediately after I translated it from French. Like from French to English, that's what it was. So I have no idea.
Mota Mita. It's like the Motorola Razors, the Hello Moto. That's what it's reminding me of now.
Moto Mita.
Yes.
So anyway, Kirby and the Crystal Shards. This is a Kirby game for the N64. And I think the big draw of it was the ability to combine two powers.
Yeah.
I think you could do just the single like power usage in the other ones, Kirby and Dreamland specifically in SNES, I think, and then a bunch of the Game Boy ones. But the big draw on this one is that you could absorb someone's power and then spit it back up, throw it at another person, and then if you hit them, it combines into a new thing, which you can then use.
And it looks really cool.
It does
like
look
a multicolored, like crystally shards. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like replaying it for this part of the show. I will say that still hits pretty hard. It's still really, really cool to be able to like just wonder and be like, I wonder what the fuck is going to come out of this. It's just like that. I think that's so much fun to be able to mix and match and be like, wait, have I seen what a rock and fire looks like before? Have I seen what double rock looks like before? And so it adds this like separate layer on top of it that I just find really, really creative in a game that like before I think was much more of just like a platforming challenge.
Yeah.
But it's adding this layer of creativity that, I don't know, I just was really impressed with. I think that future games like the Forgotten Land especially, it offers a kind of similar thing, not in the combining of powers, but just like, I wonder what that's going to be like when I absorb it. It's the same like base idea of just like curiosity and like, I wonder what that is. Or like, if I absorb a car, what happens?
Yeah.
But it's relying on the same sense of discovery, which I think is really, really cool, especially for a game for the N64. I thought that was really neat.
I think that the addition of the discovery is made even more profound because since it is a side-scrolling game, you really it really scratches an itch you can't really get from any other part of this game.
Yeah.
Because the levels are pretty straightforward. There aren't, from what I remember, there aren't really even many like hidden secret areas to go through. It's mostly just, straight down the line. Just keep going. Walk to the right.
Yes, yeah.
And then giving you this option to explore, be creative, try out new things, go back a little bit in the level and see like, oh no, I want to get this power again and combine it with this one because I haven't done that before, and see how that interacts with the world. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like you're saying, it's very much a side-scrolling game. I, for whatever reason, remembered this as being a 3D game, and it's just not. It's left to right. There's like a little bit
3D sprites, but
3D sprites
side
and like
scroller.
The camera is kind of shifted a lot of the times into positions that you wouldn't necessarily see in just a straight up 2D game. But yeah, it's left to right.
Yeah.
And not only that, you like can't use the analog stick. It's like, no, dude, it's D-pad only.
D-pad only.
I asked Garen what he thought about the game, and he gave us a lot of good thoughts. I also know that Garen is like a big fan of this game, so I'm not surprised that he suggested it. But he said, okay, first thing is the music. You kind of touched it on it the other day, but it really invokes such a feeling of adventure and mystery and danger, but ultimately hope is being weaved through the whole thing, which I think is true. Like it not only in the music, but just like the whole game, I feel like is, like you were saying, a representation of a pink puff. Like, it's all going to be good. Kirby's the fucking man and he's going to kick ass. And like, that's it. Like that's the whole.
You can't kill him. He is immortal. He's gonna be fine.
He said, the bad guy is extremely scary. Black dust just erupting from space and making all my friends evil. The process of fighting all of them and winning them back was so fun and novel at the time. Then having them come help you randomly throughout the levels was tight, which I totally agree with. And that was something that like really hit me hard when I was playing this, was like, there is this theme of like mutual cooperation and like pitching together of efforts in two ways. One of them is, like Aaron was saying, most of the bosses in the first world are your friends, but they've just been like turned into bad guys. Yeah. Like Waddle Dee is in there. There's like this painter person who like, if you help, they'll give you like 1-ups every now and then. Yep. And so it's like a really cool thematic thing to be like, I'm going to help my friends through like whatever this, curse is momentarily. And then they're going to help me after that. Yeah. Like they show up really regularly. Even like DDD, he's the first boss of like the main first world. Yeah. And he's your friend for the rest of the game.
You get a squad going in this game for sure. Yeah,
which is like really cool. I think that's a neat thing to explore, and that like aids this idea of the powers being combined, right? Like that something is stronger together, right? Like most of the powers are fine when you have one of them, but they're almost always stronger if you have two that you've combined together.
So you want to combine Kirby and D2D.
I want to see what that makes. What's that baby look like?
What's that baby like?
Is he better?
Is he better? Is he worse? Is he something different?
Is he? No, there's no combination of their names.
Derby?
D-Derby. Derby. Derby's fine.
Derby for short.
Please, D2D is my father. Call me Derby.
D to Derby.
But it's like supporting this like motif of like things are better if you are together, right? Which is like, I think it's much more direct in the story, but I think that's an impressive thing to be able to weave through the mechanics too. And like, it's not that overt, right? I wouldn't call that like something that they're really hammering home, because like there's no dialogue in this game. There's nothing said. Like the story is kind of like, you get it, right? Like there's a monster invading the worlds and like some anime girl shows up and is like, please Kirby, help me.
She's got anime fairy? Is that what she was?
Yes, it's very strange. Like it feels very un-Kirby, but
that part of the game I had totally forgotten until I replayed it like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. So it's interesting in that way. I think that it's a really cool thematic thing to weave through it. Garen also said there's the absolute bonkers fighting mechanic. I've never seen anything like that before or since, and I don't think anything will be able to do the same. The premise is so solid of a few base elements by itself, then mixing them conceptually is super cool. But the way they did it was sublime. The powers you got were incredibly diverse, on all fun and powerful in their own ways. The combinations were so intuitive but super creative and consistent with their themes. He said also secret boss for getting all the shards was super cool, and that was really fun. Boss battle in space like Star Fox controls basically. Not fun was trying to figure out which combo would break the secret walls. I'm colorblind and bad. No idea it was based on the color of the element.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I'm
Garen.
with you on that one, Garen. My brother in colorblindness.
True. Thank you for your suggestion, Garen. Yeah, I agree that there is like a super intense amount of creativity in here that is really cool to see. I would say that like you get a little bit of this in Tears of the Kingdom with your ability to like mash two things together.
Literally stick two things together and see what happens.
And like sometimes that's just a stick with a rake on it for sure. But like there are pretty novel combinations that you can get sometimes, like the heat seeking arrow with like the Keese eye and everything.
So good.
It's really, really cool. So it's I do think there are games that have that kind of creativity on display. It just may show up in a little bit of a different way.
All of the combined powers were always such a joy to discover what they were. When there was a lightsaber, I nearly fell out of my chair as a child. I was like, they got lightsabers in this game? There was like an ice shuriken was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was so good too.
I love the big flame sword that Kirby pulled out of his mouth. One
so good. I'm pretty sure that is like the inspiration for a Dark Souls boss. I feel like there's a boss in some game where they pulled a giant flaming sword out of their mouth, and I'm just like, that's Kirby.
That's my boy Kirby. You ain't tricking me. That's either Kirby or Derby. One of the two.
I was about to say the second one was Derby.
Derby, eater of flame. When I was much younger, I think I like really, really enjoyed this game. I think like just mechanically, some of it is a little like looser than I would expecting. Like the jumping and the platforming. Sometimes I was like, I wish I could move a little faster or something. You know,
that's true. But I feel like that's also just Kirby.
It is, but I think even in the Forgotten Land, it felt pretty good. You know, because I think it forgot. A little tighter. I think Kirby's float felt a little bit more appropriate.
Inappropriate float in the Crystal Shards.
I couldn't believe the shit Kirby was doing when he was floating, dude. So inappropriate. He was cussing.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
He was reading pornography and gambling while he was floating.
Yeah, you really start to realize that he is a naked pup out there.
Kirby is not okay for children. I know what your video said, but it is really not okay to be in mixed company.
What is they? Miyamoto? Were they trying to say Miyamoto?
They said Mutamita.
Mutamita. Wow.
Anyway, that's your short and abridged good games. GG.
Great game. Love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks, Garen.
Thank you, Garen. Anyway, this will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Which is?
A good power up, my friend.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Crystal Shards.
Crystal Shards, right there. But like, it's been in so many video games. It's like a fundamental part of games somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Like they just like come out swinging with the idea that like you can get a little stronger if you want to.
Yeah. Just touch this thing over here and you get strong, baby.
Yeah, have this one item and suddenly you're different now. Obviously, like, you know, Mario's the big one, right? Like that's the goat. You can't compare against the mushroom, but like they're in almost every fucking video game. Power-ups are everywhere. So
absolutely.
It's always really fun. I'm very much looking forward to Mario Wonder and turning into an elephant. I'm all about that.
It seems pretty fun. It's like a psychedelic elephant world. It's going to be good.
I'm into that. Power-ups, man. They feel good.
Always feels good to be strong.
Do you have something feeling your sense of optimism, David?
I do. It's a good slide.
A good slide?
Like a slide dodge.
A slide dodge. Okay.
Yes. The two Metroidvanias I played this week, Blasphemous and Metroid, both have a slide dodge move.
Very good slides, yeah.
I think sliding is a fun thing to do in video games, mostly. Yeah. Like whenever there's some game where I can get going fast and then do a slide and I can kind of move around side to side while I'm doing it, always makes me happy. Always is a fun time. Always makes it's like the opposite of a jump, but gives you a very separate sense of movement and fluidity in what you're doing.
I must have Mario on the brain because I'm thinking specifically of the Mario Sunshine where you can like really get moving on your tummy Like you slide as Mario on your stomach. It feels really good. You can get going really fast.
You get
slide.
pumping.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think definitely like sports video games, a good slide always feels good. Just get right underneath the defenders to get in.
Sure.
But yeah, a good slide, especially when it's combined with a solid dodge or getting around something, an obstacle of some sort. Satisfying.
Yeah, I'm in. It's really good. Also, Kirby had a good slide in this game. Crystal Shards, he has a great slide.
He sure does, doesn't he?
He does the little like foot out first. I think it might be an attack in Smash too. Feels great.
Titanfall, didn't you have a slide in that one? There's some first-person shooter I'm thinking of that I have slide. I think it was Titanfall.
Titanfall definitely has a good slide. It's got a great wall run.
The wall run's impeccable in that one. Apex
Legends allows you to like really slide on the ground. Like if you're going downhill, you can really go down the hill if you slide.
Yep. Did Mirror's Edge have a good slide?
Yeah, usually it was used to like get under stuff, which was neat. Yeah, Mirror's Edge was a good game. I really liked playing that one recently. Do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
Podcaster, Paws and Claws. If you haven't gotten that.
Welcome to Good Games. It's the segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gosh, all the things that we love about them. New listeners, this is what I was saying. This is normally this segment that we do right here.
Chase couldn't wait. He needed a small morsel, an appetizer first.
Yeah.
Got a bloomin' onion up back in front.
God, dude, bloomin' onions are so good. They're so delicious. A deep fried onion? Come on, man.
It's definitely in the Hall of Fame of appetizers.
It is really goated. It's like tough because it'll fill you up if you eat one of those things. So you got to be careful with it. But like, god damn.
Yeah, you can't. It's not something you split between two folks.
It's a family-sized bloomin' onion. All bloomin' onions are shareable bloomin' onions.
All bloomin' onions are single-serving bloomin' onions. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, dude! Can you imagine just housing an onion to yourself? The bloom to the dome.
Bloom to the dome. My goodness. You were bloom. You merely adopted the bloomness. I was born in it. Molded by it.
Took one straight to the dome on my own. Went down to the local Outback Steakhouse and got me a single-serve bloomin' onion.
Single serve. It's actually bigger than the shareable size bloomin' onion.
Oh yeah, it's like a challenge. If you finish this, you get to have the bloomin' onion for free.
Come down and try our new double-decker bloomin' onion.
Comes with a free serving of Pepto-Bismol.
Bismalt?
Yeah, sure, why not?
It's like a Pepto-Bismol malt shake.
A Pepto-Bismol. Oh man, I think I would eat a Pepto-Bismol.
Oh, bro, why?
Dude, I love the taste of Pepto-Bismol. It tastes so good.
What?
Yeah, that minty, delicious yum yum.
Okay, everybody, this is another crime against food that Chase is committed now.
This is another food crime, isn't it? I don't even know if I'm going to call Pepto-Bismol food.
This is a gastronomical. This is a taste crime. This is a crime against taste buds.
Yeah, I'll take taste crime. I love the taste of it, dude. It's so good, creamy.
Oh, dog. I can't follow you down this road, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah, man, it tastes good. Whenever I just get like a hint of indigestion, I'm like, ooh. You know what time it is? A little nip of Pepto-Bismol. Just go in there without the little cup even. Just take a little drag off it. Oh, man, it's so good.
You don't even portion it out.
No.
You just take a hit.
I love the texture. It's so thick.
Dude, you are not helping yourself at all.
See, I think being crucified on asynchronous for my food crimes that one time, like, has really led me to believe that, like, I just need to embrace this part of myself. So I'm not trying to help myself.
No.
I'm living what is true about me.
No.
What's true for me today, David? The Pepto-Bismol slaps. That stuff is good.
I cannot. I can't go down this path with you.
Anyway, listener Rufus suggested that we play Quest for Camelot, the video game. Thank you, Rufus.
Thank you, Rufus. We're going to send you a package of Pepto-Bismol in the mail as a thank you.
That delicious stuff. This game just dropped on the Switch library, the like emulator thing.
The expansion pack,
which is fun. And so we're striking all the irons hot. Rufus had suggested this a while ago. Had you played this at all? Had you even heard of this?
I had never known this was a video game. This was a Disney movie, wasn't it? This was a movie.
I don't know if it was a Disney movie, but it was a movie.
It was an animated movie. I knew of the animated movie. I had no idea. I'd never seen it. I had no idea that it was what the story was about. But hey, swords and sorcery, baby.
Swords and sorcery.
You got me. I'm halfway there already.
Yeah, it was a movie. I don't know if it's by Disney. I don't think it's Disney. But before we get too far, David, can I hit you with some hot stats about this game?
Please.
All
give
right,
me the real hot stats.
This is the real thing.
Hot stats. Hot stats.
So, Quest for Camelot came out December 16th, 1998 for the Game Boy. I think this was a Game Boy Color specific title, actually. It was made by our friends over at Titus Interactive, which you will, of course, know from Prehistoric Man, the hit. Mm-hmm. Also, Power Pigs of the Dark Age, which is just an incredible title.
Power Pigs of the Dark Age. Wow.
We also got Titus the Fox and Superman 64. Everybody loves Superman 64.
Oh, they made Superman 64?
They sure did.
Oh, no.
Let's see. I do have a review from Total out of Germany. Joe Video did not have a hand on this one, but I have taken the review from Total with an exclamation point. I've run it through Google Translate a number of times, mangling the review like I did with Kirby and spitting it back out in English to get an artist's interpretation, which I will now read for you, David.
Let's hear it.
In any case, successful clones are more interesting than other films, and Tito achieved the former while avoiding the latter. Apparently, Camelot's quest is nicer and nicer than Game Man's The Legend of Zelda 4, despite the setting. If you are looking for a fun journey with interesting characters to support you and you want to return to the old days of game, Tito's Journey to Camelot will give you the opportunity you are looking for. King Arthur. And they gave that an 8.5 out of 10.
Tito's Journey to Camelot is so funny.
It's really, really good. Tito was the name of the absolute goated janitor from our elementary school.
I'm calling by his full name, Chase.
Super Tito, as he was known to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a man.
What a man. I hope he's doing well.
So
yeah,
pretty old at this point.
He probably does, yeah. But yeah, Tito's Journey to Camelot is just the best. It's a real good time. Hey, could you tell me what this video game is, David?
This video game is a Zelda-like. Mm-hmm. So it's top-down adventure game, I guess you could say. You have a sword, you have a shield, you have different items and tools you can use to get around the world. You solve little puzzles. You have to find, certain items to progress through the story. There's little small boss battles. Yeah, it's a Zelda game. It's pretty much a Zelda game.
It's very, very similar.
Top-down Zelda game, like Link to the Past style.
Yeah, like very, very similar. Like if you play it, you're like, oh, okay, it's a Zelda video game. You know it. I would love to read to you what Rufus had said about this video game because I think he has pretty similar ideas here. Mm-hmm. He said, ooh, I wish I had more to say on this one, which is really funny. But he said, that being said, this is peak video game podtimism game for me. It really is half-remembered, very okay game from my childhood that time has kind of blurred into oblivion. I had no clue that it was a tie-in to a movie, but I remember being drawn in because it had that Zelda-esque gameplay and the Arthurian setting, which was pure catnip to young Rufus. Mm-hmm. Even when I played it, though, it felt kind of hazy. The driving plot, the layout of the world, who the characters were all felt loose and a little confusing. And I remember the game eventually getting hard enough that my friend and I had to put it down because we didn't know what to do next. Weirdly enough, I didn't actually own this game myself. I think I borrowed it off of a different friend, but I for the life of me can't remember who or where it came from. Truly a game of Arthurian legend.
Ooh.
Somebody in a lake threw this Game Boy cartridge at Rufus.
They didn't present it with him. That just a hand came out of the lake and just threw it Ninja Star style at him.
Play this fucking video game, Rufus. Yeah, I like, there's a lot in there and thank you for writing all that up, Rufus. But yeah, man, it is so similar to a Zelda video game.
Yeah.
In so many ways. But yeah, I feel like the game really wants you to do really specific stuff at any given moment, which like honestly was kind of a nice change up. I feel like oftentimes the draw of Zelda games is just like the openness of them. But it was kind of cool to have like an area where it's like, I don't have a sword yet. And I have to like figure out what to do with that.
Yeah, I just got to avoid people at this point.
Like the intro was kind of cool. I thought that was pretty neat, actually.
It did make you feel like you'd progressed a lot once you started getting a sword and then upgrading that sword's power as well.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Overall, how did this game land for you?
It was a good game to play on a plane because that's where I played it.
Yes.
And I would say it's one of those games that falls just straight down the middle for me.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't have to think too hard in this game to get through it, but I have to think just enough to make sure like I'm in the right spot and doing the right thing.
Yes, yeah.
And that I'm spacing myself appropriately against the enemies, because otherwise they will just take you down like real fast.
Yeah, some of them are so deadly in this game.
Yeah, those knights, they'll like not do anything, and then they'll just become a goddamn Autobot. No, not an Autobot. What is the
Decepticon?
No.
BattleBot?
The BattleBot.
There you go.
Becomes a BattleBot, and then just starts smashing down their hammer against me repeatedly, like five times in quick succession. And then I'm dead. But I did enjoy the different items you get. I feel like you get a good number of items pretty quickly. You can't use them for a lot of different things. They're very specific to a certain area or like a one-time use as far as like the hook chain is concerned. From what I've experienced, at least, I didn't have anywhere else to use it, or didn't find anywhere else to use it.
Sure, yeah.
I liked the different items. I liked that you could upgrade your sword and get stronger.
Really yeah.
It always felt nice to just have to swing one less to kill an enemy. And I did enjoy the levels. I thought that there were some interesting components of them, like the horse, I thought was an interesting thing. A very confusing thing at first. I had no idea why I wanted to ride this very anemic horse that needed to constantly eat to just move. But it was interesting when you finally figured out exactly, okay, this is what the horse is for. And then you don't need the horse anymore. So yeah, there's definitely some confusing things like that in this game, but overall, pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
I agree. It's very strange to see like this close of a Zelda approximation.
Yeah,
but
it's the Lies of P of Zelda.
Yeah, a little bit, huh? It is trying so hard to do the Zelda thing, and I'm not surprised why. The game was really hot at the time, so it makes sense that if you're gonna lift some mechanics, that would be one of them. I think it gets a lot closer to, I'm not going to say unoriginality, but like, using other ideas than I feel like a lot of other games do. But I think it does become, like, if you're just looking at, what is this game actually doing, it does become more interesting to see what their decisions were with like what to keep and what to not keep and what to do a little bit differently. I think like my brain is still just stuck on the frog for whom the bell tolls. And
it did remind me of that, at least in the beginning when you couldn't attack. I felt the same. Yeah. And like, I still think that like Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls is like genuinely a really, really good game. It still lands on me that like that's just like a perfect adventure of a video game. Yeah.
But yeah, I was reminded of it here, and I think this game is kind of going for similar stuff because, like I was saying, there's always something that like you have to do in that game, and in this one too, where it's like there's a very specific thing the game wants from you. And like once you know it I feel like it does actually become pretty fun to be like, all right, how am I actually going to do this? Or one of the easy missions, I guess, is to just go out and defeat all the knights. Yeah, which is very fun. That's very cool. I got absolutely just knocked on my ass by the like wizards in the first like castle area.
I had no idea what was going on with them.
Absolutely no clue.
I was so confused.
I had no idea how to approach these guys. There's like a rhythm. You can beat them if you get them into a rhythm of like hitting them to the point where they're kind of stun locked, where they're just walking close enough to you. But if they get close enough to you, they get a lot bigger.
They get big.
And then zap. I didn't see any projectiles. I was like, I'm not totally sure what this means.
Exactly. Invisible zapping was what happened with the wizards. It was very confusing.
And then after that, they don't take damage. So like, I don't know what the deal was there.
Yeah, when they're in big mode, you can't hit them. It's just, you got to wait until they're regular sized again.
Yeah, which is very strange. I feel like this game, there are a lot of like lessons not learned from other video games about just like video game stuff, you know? When enemies should be vulnerable, or like what broadcasting an attack looks like, Absolutely. Because what you're saying too about the knights just turning into like murder machines, like
all of a sudden they're not swinging the sword or anything, and then they get close to you and just like they go insane,
totally destroy you. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff in here about like me noticing that there are so many things about video games that I take as an assumption all the time, like stuff that's like just barely even on my brain anymore. And I think like game developers and game designers do that too, where it's just like like, yes, this is what a sword swing looks like in games, you know? Or if it doesn't, like, how are you going to alter that? Or how quickly should someone be able to attack or re-attack? Or like how many invincibility frames you have, you know? That sort of stuff sometimes in this game I was just like, whoa, it feels like I am learning to play video games in a mirror dimension where like a bunch of different assumptions about video games were made, and this is like one of them. It was very strange.
I agree. And the bit you said about having to get into a rhythm with the enemies, it was kind of like a rhythm mini game fighting the enemies, because you have to hit them just at the very tip of your sword.
Yes, yeah.
Back up, they come back at you, you go back a little bit, you hit them again, and you just do this weird dance back and forth until they're dead. Rinse and repeat like 6 times, and you just have the basic level sword, and then you're through that bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's very strange.
But I did appreciate that they did mix it up a little bit with the dragons later on. Did you get the dragons?
I did.
It's like you couldn't be up close to them because they would just breathe fire on you, so you had to start using the ranged attack. Like, okay, this is a little bit different now, but
yeah, we're playing video games now.
This is real gaming now, baby. But yeah, it's definitely a game that shows its age. Kind of perplexed that they chose to put this game on the expansion pack a little bit, because I had never never heard of it.
Yeah,
maybe it was much more popular in other countries. I don't know, but
I'm not sure. I also wonder if it's specifically this developer, because they also have Prehistoric Man on the pack that you can play on the Switch, and so I wonder if this developer is just like, hey man, we got him. You want to put our games on there?
Where's the Night Pigs?
Yeah, man, Power Pigs. Where's that at?
Where's Power Pigs?
Power Pigs of the Dark Age.
What's Pigs of the Dark Age. It sounds like a metal band.
It really does, yeah. An 80s metal band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was strange. There's like, I feel like there are just a number of like straight up engineering challenges with this game of like, I don't understand where my character is or is not supposed to be at certain times.
The Sulfur Swamp, I was very confused.
Oh my God, yeah. Just like challenging. And it sort of goes beyond like, you know, maybe I wasn't paying attention enough to just like, I don't know if the game knows that I'm supposed to be in this spot or if I was even supposed to be able to kill that guy.
Or actually, notice like the strangely large space that characters you could talk to took up in front of them.
Oh my God, yeah, so strange. Like
a big invisible wall going out from them.
Yeah, like you couldn't, I always was so confused because you can get right up next to people, but then like you can't come any closer to them. And like pressing A to talk to them, it takes a second for that to register in the video game. And so like you would walk up to somebody and just be like 10 feet away from them, and then they're like, here's the quest that you need to go.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, could you speak up a little bit? I can't hear you. You're so far away.
Did you? Yeah, you had to if you went past it. Did you love the treasure chests and how they implemented them visually?
Treasure chests.
There's like these things in the castle level where if you hit them with your sword, the like top half of something just like slides.
That was supposed to be a treasure chest?
This is what I'm saying with this video game, man. It's not always obvious what is going on.
I thought it was like a weird ottoman I was hitting.
I thought it was a door. I was like, how do I hit the other half of it to like go through the door?
I also definitely figured out how to get through the castle just by wildly swinging around. Because I'm like, well, the only thing I got is a sword, so it's got to do something around here. And it worked.
It
surprisingly
did work.
Enough.
You eventually find that very scary bulldog.
The haunches on that boy, my goodness. That bulldog was terrifying.
Like, I can't remember if it's from the front or the side, but one of the angles he looks correct. I think it's from front on. He looks like a bulldog.
Front on, he looks like a bulldog.
The side, he looks like a ghoul, man. He's very scary from the side.
The side, he looks like a ghoul. From the back, it looks like he has 2 turkey legs, like cooked turkey legs as his legs. That's all I could see.
Yeah.
Also, he's about the same size, if not larger, than your main character.
Yes, much bigger.
Huge. This is the biggest dog I'd ever seen in my life.
It's really fun. I loved that.
It was terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, really, like, this game is really helpful to play on the Switch specifically because you can do the like rewind function a little bit.
The rewind was crucial.
I bet this game would be so hard if you weren't able to do that, because they are not handing out hearts with any regularity.
No. Unless you get the shovel in the forest level, then you can dig for some hearts.
Sure.
But you're still hurting for a lot of this game.
I fought most of the nights with 1 heart. None of them dropped a heart. I was almost dead and just was like, all right, well, I guess this is what this game is.
They were tough. And the hitboxes are confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the plant boss where you had to go and stick the stick in its mouth to be able to hit it. I had to go up so slowly to not get hit each time.
Yeah.
Because I just had no idea where I was in space.
It's I feel like games don't get made like this anymore, where there are like very bottom layer stuff about the game that like kind of doesn't work. Like I feel like most games that come out, maybe just because of the invention of just like game engines, like you kind of don't run into that as much. Even in like Starfield, there's like glitches and bugs and shit, but it's like a different kind of bug, you know? It's like a character like turning around and giving you a sandwich during a cutscene or something like that. But it's I feel like stuff like this, you just don't see it anymore. And I kind of like that. I kind of like it's sort of fun to have this like layer of jank over the game that is like confusing and challenging in some ways. And like, you know, it'd be hard pressed to say parts of it weren't frustrating, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the mess in this game.
There is, it's that really obnoxious millennial poster, the bless this mess thing. Yeah. Going back to millennial Kirby again. Yeah. We invoked him this episode, so might as well. It never really takes away from the game, because it's just demanding that you play it in a specific way, like a Dark Souls does. Sure. It's just doing it in a way that really doesn't kind of make sense from a modern game design perspective. So you can kind of appreciate it and respect it in that way, but it doesn't necessarily feel great when you're doing it. But it does add to the mystique of the game, I would say. The aesthetic, the mess aesthetic. Yeah,
it's real close for games that are like this. Like there's such a fine line between being just unplayable and janky in a fun way, you know? And like I think that's kind of the part of the value of analyzing games under this umbrella of just what are they doing artistically and like what can you appreciate about it? Because if it's just a value proposition, like I think, you know, a lot of games criticism is and was like, no, man, you probably shouldn't buy this. Like there are probably better Game Boy games that you should buy, but it is kind of fun to just like soak in the jankiness of this weird Game Boy game.
And it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But not bad.
If you like Zelda, like there's something here for you.
Bootleg Zelda.
This bootleg Zelda. Actually, yeah, that's a really good just one sentence explanation of this bootleg Zelda.
Bootleg Zelda. Papa Nintendo is going to come for you if you use the word Hyrule anywhere in here. So it's Camelot now. Warner Brothers doesn't have as good of lawyers.
This is Mimtembo's the legend. No, Tito's quest for Camelot.
Tito's journey to Camelot.
Oh man, I loved the cutscenes in this game.
Just the random stills.
Yes, yeah.
Where it's like you have to take a second to realize what's going on. It's almost like a Rorschach test.
There's interpretation for sure. Like you have to sort of like view the images and kind of look behind them a little bit to be like, okay, I think I understand what's going on here.
You have to do that thing where you like unfocus your eyes. It's like, hold on, what am I looking at? The foreground becomes what you're looking. The background becomes what you look at.
The 3D image. Yeah,
exactly.
There's a few of those in the Discord if y'all are interested in that. It's really funny.
Also, Sir Rubber. Sir Rubber is his name. Ruber?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched the movie, so I don't know like how
Played
that's actually
by
pronounced.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, dude.
In the movie, if you didn't know.
I think Pierce Brosnan's also in this movie.
Pierce Brosnan was King Arthur. Cary Elwes, I don't know how to pronounce his name, is, I'm guessing, the main guy who's, if you don't know, he is the Dread Pirate Robert.
Oh, let's go. Love that.
From The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
So he is a thing as well. But yeah, the cutscenes, the stills are funny.
Amazing. Yeah. Really, really good to look at. Anyway, I feel like there's like this game is more prototypically, and like I'm using this word in quotes, bad than a lot of the other ones that we've interacted with, but somehow that made it much more fun for me to play when I was playing through it. I was laughing a lot when I was playing this game. Just like what is happening in this game?
Once that dog hit my eyes, I'm like, what in the hell is happening? But I'm here for it. The haunches, man.
Yeah. I think it was the treasure chest for me.
I didn't even know it was a treasure chest. I thought it was a weird table that I hit the top off of.
That's like that when it hit me, I was like, oh my God, that's what that was. I think there was some hint somewhere of like, here's how you open treasure chests. I'm like, oh, that's what those are. That is amazing. I love that.
It's an artist's interpretation of an artist's interpretation.
Yes, of a treasure chest. That's a Google Translate treasure chest for sure. That's a prize box.
Oh man, jeez Louise.
Yeah, fun one. I had a good time with this game.
Yeah, it's definitely the enjoyment is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes. Yeah. It's also up to you because I like, this is similar to Starfield. If that doesn't jive with you and like you don't like the layer of jank, I bet this will not be very fun for someone, especially if you're expecting the quality of a Zelda game, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, it's not like the game crashes or anything. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Which is bootleg Zelda.
Bootleg Zelda.
Goddamn bootleg Zelda fuck shit.
Man, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Anyway, Rufus, thank you for his suggestion. It's a fun one.
Yeah, thank you, Rufus.
Hey, it's me, your friend Chase, and I'm here to guide you through the outro. If you want to interact with us on the internet or get a link to the Discord that we're now a part of, you can do that at our website at podtimism.com. You can also check to see if we've played a game there before, and it'll tell you which episodes. You can go check that out. You can also suggest a game like Rufus did here. That's an ability you have on our website. So give it a look if you want to. Thank you to The Worst Garbage for having us on the network. Very excited to be here still, having a great time.
Yeah, thank you.
It turned into the Gale Zone last night in the Discord, which I think Rufus changed the name to Video Gale Podtimism, which I really appreciated. So shouts out Rufus. Let's see. Thank you to Scout for her artwork. It's amazing. She did a really great job. If you want to check out her work, you can go to ko-fi.com/humblegoat to see what she's going on. Sometimes their commissions are open. I don't know if they are now, but maybe they are. Who knows?
Yeah. Take a peek.
If you want to help the show, a couple things you can do. One is to show to a cool podcast friend of yours, somebody who listens to podcasts, and be like, hey, this one's cool. I like this. They make me feel nice. If that's what happens. If they don't, then be honest with your feelings, Or you could write a review, which I do have a review of Video Game Podtimism from a listener. I think it's Traitor. TRE8OR. I think it's Trader. Is that how you say that?
I think so.
I have taken their review and run it through Google Translate a number of times to get an artist's interpretation of Trader's review of Video Game Podtimism, which I'll read for you now, David.
Let's hear it.
But what? This show is amazing. A smile appears on his face as he begins to listen. The performance is off the charts and the episodes are consistently entertaining. And the incremental build of the VGP experience has paid off in unexpected ways. Thanks to Jason David for bringing these great models to the arcade. Continue. I gave that a 5 out of 5. So thank you for that review, Trader. Trader wrote incredibly kind things about us, so it does feel a little bit weird to run it through Google Translate, but we do that for all the reviews. So if you want to write one, you too can get the show video treatment.
You said it's paid off in what kind of ways?
Unexpected
ways. Love it.
They were specifically mentioning the lore of VGP being built up, but I do like that the idea that this is somehow paying off.
I mean, maybe with Truck Thulu.
Yeah, there might be some hidden knowledge in there.
We'd all been the old one was just the Herald of Truck Thulu. When we started, that was a proto meme.
Speaking of which, October's coming up, man.
Wow, has it really been that long already?
Well, we wrote Truck Thulu.
Oh, that wasn't for October.
Yeah, that was for 150, so it feels pretty recent.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember what last year's was.
Should we take suggestions from people for what to write about?
Gosh, that's an option available for sure.
Or just like give us. You can just they can suggest just like a theme or a character or something, and then we can choose and put them together.
Yeah,
in
maybe
ways that we like.
I think characters specifically, but God, dude, I really want to write about Bunch Ugly. That's really something I want to do.
Bunch Ugly.
So I don't know. If you have a character that you're really feeling, you would like a specific spooky story about, you've got until the middle of October to do that. So pop into the Discord and let us know.
Absolutely. Please.
Listener, thank you. Just real quick. Yeah. Thank you for Trader for writing that review. If you want to do us a solid, you can do that as well. It's very helpful for our algorithm. Anyway, that algo. Thank you, listener, for listening to this podcast. We love making it. It's very fun. So thank you for listening and spending your time with us. Also, thanks to AJ and Kim for filling in last week. Appreciate them being here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Keep the Podtimism going while I'm on vacation, enjoying things.
A hard-earned vacay.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Hell yeah. David, do you have any gaming wisdom for us today?
I guess for me this week, the video game wisdom is things that are old can be new again, Chase. Because I played a lot of games that I had been playing off and on for probably years now while I was away, and they were all so fun still. Blasphemous, Hades, Metroid Dread. There is still enjoyment to be mined from those repositories.
Totally.
repositories, depositories. I don't even know.
You know, I get what you're
suppositories.
I get what you're putting down.
But yeah, it's just there. I have these sorts of games where I just kind of leave them on the back burner. I'm like, I will come back to you. You will do me well at some point in my life. And all three of these friends were there for me. It was great.
That's awesome. I love that. What's old is new again.
What's old is new again.
What's bootleg is legit again. What's Githyankiss is
Githyankiss.
What is Githyankiss is now Dazel again.
Githyankiss?
The first name really sticks in my mind. Dazel is so clear and concise.
Dazel is good.
But
Dazel is good.
Githyankiss or whatever iteration is really challenging to the mind.
Is it flaying your mind, you would say?
This is flaying my mind. This is a mind flayer.
The next time we're playing Smash, I'm going to be Githyankiss.
Githyankiss is really good. I really like Githyankiss.
It's like if Donkey Kong was a Sith Lord.
That's exactly what I thought.
He would come from the planet of Githyankiss. Or do you think he would be called Githyankiss? He'd be Darth Donkus, right?
Darth Donkus from Bonk Donkus. Oh man,
Bonk Donkus. With every iteration, we stray further from the Lord's light.
It's like a refraction, or like it is recursive. It keeps like feeding into itself until it's no longer what it was.
So this is a work of Cthulhu, truly, since it is also gifting Donkey Kong with Sith Lord powers, which is a nightmare.
With old nightmare. One powers.
Old one powers. Old Donkus.
See you next week, Both Donkuses.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.
TWG, the worst garbage.online.